California Governor Gavin Newsom put the dagger into Donald Trump, who was freaking out all last night about the success of the No Kings protest, the largest mass protest in the history of the United States. And I'll talk about what Donald Trump was rage posting, but first what Governor Newsom was saying. California Governor Gavin Newsom, after the successful protest, said the following: "Today, Californians join millions nationwide to say it loud and clear. No to authoritarianism, no to assaulting our democracy, no to censorship and fear, no to hate and division, no to corruption and cruelty, no to kings. Yes to a government by and for the people." How did Donald Trump respond to that? By posting videos and AI images of himself as a fighter pilot defecating, relieving himself on the protesters. That's right. The president of the United States posting videos of himself like shitting on human beings. That's what he finds funny in Manhattan. That's what Donald Trump was posting. Back to California Governor Gavin Newsom. He says the following about Caroline Leavitt, about the Trump regime, about these despicable, vile humans. Governor Newsom says the following: "Spreading hatred is the only thing the Trump administration seems to be able to accomplish. The government is shut down. Millions of Americans are about to lose their health care. Our troops are not going to be paid, and they are busy trashing Democrats on TV. It's pathetic and it's un-American." You know, and here's the thing, like, I like a good joke. I have a sense of humor. I like to believe. I just don't find it funny when the United States government is giving $40 billion to bail out Argentina while ripping away the health care of 20 million Americans, that the president of the United States is posting videos of himself taking shits on protesters. I don't find that funny. I don't. I mean, there's a time and place for things that it could be humorous, but that's not the way the president of the United States is supposed to behave. It's not normal behavior, and we should never normalize it. Governor Newsom then posts the following as well: J.D. Vance couldn't deliver Indiana for Trump. Trump is now personally begging state legislators to rig the elections. He's so desperate he conducted an anonymous poll at the end of a call. Pathetic. The people of Indiana don't want their elections rigged. Give up. And Governor Newsom posted the following article: Trump pushes Indiana lawmakers to redraw state maps. A call Friday morning by the president to Republican state senators is part of an escalating pressure campaign by the White House as it gets more and more desperate. Governor Newsom then had this message. We'll throw the B-roll up, folks, of what's going on here for J.D. Vance, who arrived in California to do that Kim Jong-un-like stunt right by Camp Pendleton in Southern California, where they had to shut down the I-5, as we reported they were going to do earlier this week, because the Trump regime was shooting live munitions from howitzers over the highway, over the cars, into Camp Pendleton. Governor Newsom posted this video of a couch. This is J.D. Vance's type right here. Couches that look like this. This is how J.D. likes them. J.D., welcome to California. We made sure you feel right at home, and you see that couch. J.D. Vance is into that. Governor Newsom then posts the following from San Francisco's No Kings protest. This is at the beach right there, and you'll see tens of thousands of people. They all form the shape of No Kings, and then it says yes on 50, Prop 50, which is the proposition coming up in this November's election to counteract the election rigging by Donald Trump in Texas. It's to allow the maps in California to change slightly and for a temporary period of time, I think it's through 2031, to eliminate certain Republican seats in response to Texas eliminating the Democratic seats. It's just Texas did this, so California has to respond appropriately, with force, with moral clarity, with moral authority, if you will. Governor Newsom then he posted the following video of himself right here talking about Donald Trump's behavior: grossly illegal, immoral, delusional. Trump's unhinged, listless, and declined cognitively and physically. I mean, you have the president of the United States posting videos of himself like feces on people, throwing his feces on humans. I mean, like, the hell is going? Yeah, you're right, Governor Newsom. Yes, Donald Trump is unhinged, and he's a sick, vile human being, like a disgusting human, and he surrounds himself with freaking disgusting people. Like, there's no way around it. These are freaking grotesque humans. But anyway, here, play this clip of Governor Newsom.
His latest assertion that he was going to come to San Francisco. On what basis? He didn't even claim. There's no pretext anymore. Let's disabuse ourselves that there has to be a pretext with Donald Trump, that there's anything that would justify that. There's no existing protest at a federal building. There's no operation that's being impeded. I guess it's just a training ground for the President of the United States. It is grossly illegal. It's immoral. It's rather delusional. And increasingly, this president appears unhinged, unmoored by reality and facts. Seems listless. He seems, dare I say, in decline, cognitively, and, dare I say, forgive me, perhaps unfair, physically. And these are just rantings of someone that needs an intervention, needs some help, needs to be stabilized.
And then Governor Newsom mocks Joe Rogan for being too afraid to allow Newsom to come on the Rogan show. Rogan's afraid of Newsom, afraid to debate Newsom. And then Governor Newsom goes, "Bok, bok, Joe Rogan, bok, bok, Joe Rogan." Enjoy that.
Life's been a little crazy lately. I mean, we could all agree on that, right? And one thing that helps me unwind, Cornbread Hemp's CBD gummies. CBD might be just what you need to level up your daily routine. After adding Cornbread Hemp's full spectrum gummies into my nightly routine, I noticed I was able to relax more easily and just feel more balanced at the end of the day. They become a small but important part of my wellness routine. Cornbread Hemp's CBD gummies are made to help you feel better, whether it's stress, discomfort, or just needing a little relaxation. They only use the best part of the hemp plant, the flower, for the purest and most potent CBD. No fillers, no junk, plus every product is third-party lab tested and USDA organic, so you know it's safe and pure. And right now, Midas listeners can save 30% on their first order. Just head to cornbreadhemp.com/Midas and use code Midas at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/Midas and use code Midas. That's MEIDAS to get 30% off your first order.
Governor Newsom, earlier in the day yesterday, after it was determined that the Trump regime lied. Remember, MeidasTouch is involved in this story, right? We were the first to report. Our sourcing said that the Trump regime was going to launch missiles from the Pacific Ocean over the I-5 highway as a show of force, while cars were driving into Camp Pendleton, which would be very dangerous. The Trump regime denied it. We got like all these fact checks against us, like Snopes and all these, MeidasTouch, rage bait, oh, they're wrong. And then I got comments from people like, oh, MeidasTouch, you disappointed me. Why would you report that? Trump and the Marines say, I'm like, guys, Trump and the Marines say, Trump lies about everything. Why is Snopes taking what Trump and the Marines say over what MeidasTouch says based on our sourcing? So I had to deal with, I had to deal with it, whatever. It is what it is. I'm a big boy. I could handle it. But for like 2 days, people were like, oh, MeidasTouch, you're lying. And then it turned out our reporting was absolutely true. And the Trump regime was just lying. Shocker. And they launched the missiles over the I-5. Like, that's what their plans to do. So the I-5 had to be shut down. Governor Newsom goes, this is a profoundly absurd show of force that could put Californians directly in harm's way. Flying live rounds over a busy highway without coordination between state, federal, and local partners isn't just wrong, it's dangerous. The New York Times article, which doesn't credit MeidasTouch, says military plans to fire artillery over California freeway on Saturday. Governor Newsom then posts, using our military to intimidate people you disagree with politically doesn't make you look strong. It makes you look weak. It's reckless. It's disrespectful. And yet another action beneath the office of the presidency. And for those who are like, but MeidasTouch, this was regularly scheduled. The military always fires howitzers and missiles over highways. This was regular. First off, the Marines' anniversary was not yesterday, okay? It's like November 10th. This event was not planned significantly in advance. The first time it was ever even mentioned was on Friday, okay? And even as Grok, which is used by the Pentagon as a Pentagon-approved AI tool, says no. Firing artillery over the I-5 isn't routine for Camp Pendleton's standard training ranges, which are typically contained within base boundaries away from public highways. Governor Newsom says earlier this week, the White House denied the freeway near Camp Pendleton would need to be closed due to live munitions being fired over the freeway. But today, despite the White House claims and lack of transparency, California traffic and public safety experts have recommended temporarily closing the freeway to best protect the public. And now the White House is being fact-checked by Grok, the latest Pentagon AI tool. Then I know people were like, but Newsom had to shut down the I-5, not Trump. If you're shooting missiles over the highway, you probably need to shut the highway down, right? So we reported what was going down yesterday. And then Governor Newsom, this was the response by Trump's team. Newsom is lying. He closed the highway. Not only did nobody at the White House or the Marines ask him to do so, the Marines repeatedly said there are no public safety concerns with today's exercise. So what, Snopes, you want to just take what Rapid Response 47 says, Newsom, you want to use that as your authoritative source? It's very unfortunate when you focus on those things versus like Donald Trump lying about $20 trillion being brought in as the biggest Ponzi scheme in the history of the United States and the world is being perpetrated. You're like, well, Rapid Response 47 says Newsom is a liar. So we're going to just print what Trump says and say that's one side. Just use common sense, please. This is a regime that is invading blue states, okay, and blue cities. This is a regime that's disappearing people to concentration camps, okay? This is a regime who's led by an individual who's posting photographs of himself like having diarrhea on humans, okay, like on protesters, okay? Like, could we reflect on who the hell we're freaking dealing with here before you cite them as like, they lie about everything, okay? They're full of shit. Governor Newsom's office says the CHP and highway safety experts are saying what any person with common sense knows. It is not safe for people to drive on a major freeway at high speeds directly under live munitions. White House not communicating, endangering the public, and then trying to blame the governor for doing the right thing, keeping people out of harm's way. Yet another day living in Trump's authoritarian America. Governor Newsom says, well done, San Diego, in response to their police chief, saying that out of the 25,000 plus protesters who showed up, all peaceful. Thanks for being peaceful. Once again, no one was arrested. Thank you for keeping it classy, San Diego. Governor Newsom writes, civil rights and freedom, pluralism, and nonviolent protest, the values Americans cherish, are under assault by Donald Trump. This is the United States of America, and California will keep peacefully pushing back against the Trump administration's authoritarian takeover. Governor Newsom's wife, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, writes, there are those who want this day to turn violent. Please, California, don't give them what they want. Stand shoulder to shoulder and lead with peace. Fear is their language and control is their goal, but love of truth, of freedom, and of one another will always speak louder. Governor Newsom writes, as Californians take to the streets today to stand up against Trump's authoritarian playbook, I urge everyone to stay safe and demonstrate peacefully. Don't give in to his provocations. Our strength is in our unity and our peace. And then Governor Newsom has this message to the military. California celebrates the history and achievements of our men and women in uniform, and this state's huge contributions to defend democracy. But the scaled up live munitions being fired over a major freeway is a public safety risk. Due to the extreme life safety risk and distraction to drivers, including sudden, unexpected, and loud explosions, a section of I-5 will have to be closed on October 18th. This decision comes at the recommendation of traffic safety experts at the California Highway Patrol. If they just think about if they didn't do it, I'll wear my lawyer cap for a second with liability. Okay, let's say the state is put on notice that this is going to take place. The state does not shut down I-5. While somebody's driving, live munitions are shot. Boom, it makes a loud noise. So a driver gets scared. They swerve. They hit and kill somebody. Okay, it's a tragic death that could be avoided. And it would create liability for the state because you knew and you could have shut down the highway. Now you've created a dangerous condition on your road, which is one of the things that it seemed the Trump regime wanted to do. So any public safety expert will say, if they're doing that, it's not just that a stray missile will hit the highway. It's that the sound, the distraction, if you're driving and a missile flies over your head, you may swerve. And what if dozens of people get killed on the highway? We've heard about, pileups where trucks hit this car and that car, and you didn't shut it down. Could you imagine the grief, right? That the governor and the highway patrol would get for not protecting the people? And Trump would probably be, oh, you should have shut it down. You should have turned on the faucet. It's all your fault, new scum. Come on, you know exactly what they're going to do. In conclusion, Governor Newsom is leading by example. He's leading with moral clarity, with integrity, with authority, standing up to this Trump regime. And you see in contrast to the behavior of Donald Trump. But judge for yourself. Judge for yourself. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
New Meidas merch. Head to store.MeidasTouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.